you know, I'm not this great husband, but the Lord is, you know. And somehow I got to this place where he could talk, where he wants to talk. And I get to look good. So, you know, and it's amazing. Like, I'm going, wow, God, you're so amazing, you know, that you really feel that way toward my wife, and you're creating that in me now. Now I begin to gel in with this whole bridegroom being like you know, and also the Father is inside me, and He loves her like a daughter. So there's two things going on, you know, both Father and a bridegroom are communicating to this daughter and my wife as well. So that changed our marriage fundamentally, you know, and gelled us together as one to this day, 13 years later. In January will be 13. She got hit and restored. And maybe February or March is when I said that to her. So we're close to 13 years of this. And Michael will tell you, those who know us, that it has been quite an amazing marriage. And those who know us, that they will agree that that's what God's done an amazing miracle, really. And we're able to encourage and bring hope to other marriages that it can work. You know, it's a supernatural thing. Marriage is a supernatural thing. You can't possibly, in my mind, it's impossible to live it with your willpower and with just getting it and commitment and, you know, do the right thing. It's like it could go that far, but really love is something amazing. It is a supernatural, and only God can make it happen. In my world, only God can make it happen. And we could trust Him and ask Him, and He'll help us. So there's hope for all of you for a good situation. And I'm not saying that, yeah, everything's perfect, but it is such an amazing thing that is possible. And the love of the Father, love of God, love of Christ. And so, anyways, let's take a short break, because is that okay? And take a break.
That's permissible.
Because that was a good foundation.
Yeah.
And we'll step on that one. Okay.
Bring it, boss.
So far, what did I communicate? Let me try to figure it out. I communicated the supernatural side of salvation, which I maintain is entirely an act of God. However, the responses, that's what the tricky part is. Because trying to understand salvation from a human point of view, even though there's a response, somehow in my case was promoted or was coaxed or was set up by God. And I maintain that's the way it is. I get arguments against that, because people say, no, you have a choice, and if you didn't have a choice, let me call my friend. Sorry.
Whoa.
How come go to heaven, some people go to hell? And honestly, I don't know the answer. I couldn't tell you. But I do know one thing, that I just know what happened to me. And for me, it was a setup. And it's not like I don't have a choice, but it's almost like, hey, are you there? Okay, watch that minute. It's not like I had a choice. I do not have a choice. I believe it. There is a choice, but that choice is manipulatable. Yet still, some don't seem to go in there and don't seem to choose God, or don't seem to respond. And why is that so? I have no idea. Other than the deception is so severe in people's minds that it's just crazy, you know. And I still don't have an answer.
Like, I don't know, it just came to me, but like, you know the prodigal son story?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't he, like, he was the son to begin with, so, like, I guess he chose to run away, or?
Right.
But he was still always the son.
Yeah, but in his story, it's like coming back. It's hard for us to see ourselves as God's sons before we were born again. Technically, we are created, you know, in the race that God created in Adam and stuff. But so technically, we can say that we're sons of God. But we're also dead sons. And I don't know. I never saw myself as a son. Even after I became a Christian, it took me a while to really feel that, you know, and to really identify myself as a son. So it's a stretch to liken lost souls to a prodigal son. It's a little stretch.
Oh.
But nevertheless, using that story as an analogy, we see how he left, didn't care, and then he died. You know? Like, my son was dead, now he's alive. So in that respect, he just really lost all connection. But somehow, whether it's this condition or that, running out of money, running out of this and that, eating pig's food, something helped along the way, pushed it to the point where he couldn't bear anymore to be that way. In my case, I didn't even seek God. I honestly didn't think God existed, so I didn't seek God. But nevertheless, he created so many unusual circumstances, breakthrough obstacles such as escaping through the Iron Curtain. Even the notion of escaping is a very unlikely thing for a guy like me. You know, I'm not a political immigrant, you know, like a political rebel. You know, I was artistically, yes, but so I was not like an aggressive person. There's some guys who are just gonna go through whatever. You know, I'm more of a not that guy. But God did kind of override my mind to a point where I wanted to be free so bad I wasn't even thinking about what if I get caught and I got killed. I just didn't even think. It's just like all of a sudden, I gotta be free, I gotta be free, I gotta get out of here. And everything began to work in my favor. I thought I was the luckiest guy. Now, of course, I see God help me with unusual circumstances. I'm writing a book on my life story, so just unusual circumstances, way too unusual to be accident and luck. It just definitely God set things up to the where everything is for Arrival America, everything was guided supernaturally. Supernatural was guided to I land in front of these ex-drug guys, ex-hippies. They were really intense. Everything they did was just exactly what I needed to get pushed to the point of like, hey, you gotta face up here. Something, there is something here. You don't know what it is, but you need to find out. And it pushed me to say, okay, I'll quit eating their food no more, but I'll give it one chance. And in my case, it's amazing. So I only have my experience to go by. So when I read the scripture, I read it from my point of view, for what I've seen. And for me, salvation is supernatural. And you can turn on let's say where we turn. We can turn on Ephesians chapter 2, because it talks about how we get saved. Does anybody talk to you in the school about how you get saved? The autopsy, I'm borrowing your words already, autopsy of salvation. Autopsy на спасението. So, Ephesians chapter 2, verse, well, let's start with 5, because 5 will, now different translations say it in a different way. For those who are real King James